Football then and now, a fun look at football nostalgia and the modern game intertwined. Join us.
Welcome to Football Then and Now, a podcast about modern football and nostalgic elements of football, the game we know and love. And my guest today is Pitchside Announcer for Walsall FC. It's Mr. Simon Hill. And Walsall, it's also his boyhood club, a team he is so passionate about, and he loves his role with his boyhood club. He really, really does. It was great getting Si on for the episode. So without further ado, here it is, Mr. Simon Hill, episode 11, Pitchside Announcer for Walsall FC. Enjoy.
We're going to move into football now.
And
your role with your beloved Walsall there in the Midlands. Pitchside Announcer. I know you've been with him for a while now. So, how has it been? I know they're in the quest for the playoffs with 2 games to go. So, Si, how has it been? We're going to come away from the wrestling. We're going to talk a bit of football, soccer for the American contingent watching this or listening to it later on, just so you know, just so you're clear. Time at Walsall, mate, and how it's been.
Yeah, mate, look, it's been incredible. So, go back to the very, very start. 2 seasons I've been there now. And so I remember seeing the advert for them advertising a Pitchside Announcer, but I was very, very busy at the time. And I think I'd been working abroad, hosting gaming stuff. And then I was sent the application and the due date had already passed. So I was like, I'm just going to try my luck anyway. Just sent them a show reel, an introductory email and all that sort of stuff. Well, the next day they got in touch and I was like, can you come in for a chat? Like, yeah, sure. Now, bear in mind, I have been a Walsall. Even when I moved to London, even when I was working abroad, I've always been a Walsall fan. So this was kind of like a dream moment for me because, you could put me at Old Trafford. It'd be cool, but it wouldn't be home. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, we go in, have the meeting, and they're clearly very impressed with all the things that I've done and what I've been up to, and the career I've had, the awards that I've won over the years and whatnot. And so they said, right, I'll tell you what, could you do a trial shift for us against Aston Villa? We got them in a friendly. And I was like, sure. Now, mate, I have been in front of some crowds. I have hosted gaming shows to hundreds of thousands, and I've been around the world doing it. But when you step out into a stadium of 11,000 people, there's a different kind of pressure there. And I remember tweeting about it beforehand, and it got some really, really good traction, hundreds and hundreds of likes and retweets and stuff. And I'd prepared something. I thought, do you know what? I want to go full Michael Buffer on this. Because even when I was a kid there, and this is not a knock on the lads that were there prior to me, they had their way and it was great. It always worked. The fans loved them. And I was one of those fans as well that listened to them. But I think the days of just, when it comes to pitchside announcing and just going, replacing number 5, XYZ is number 4, XYZ. I think now we're seeing a very different type of pitchside announcing. You look at the guy at Man City, the guy at Palace, you look at the Italians, there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of vibe, there's a lot of emotion to help create an atmosphere and build an atmosphere. And I'll go into the misconception with that in a while. But yeah, so I did that, and I did this big Michael Buffer entrance. And as I'm stood there, Stephen Gerrard was in charge at the time, and he stands right next to me. And I wrap up his entrance, and he just looks at me and goes, give me that nod of approval. And I obviously, like, you know, me there is like, well, if that's not me got the job, I don't know what is. And after the game, so the PA room is actually in the away end for me to get to. And after the game, I'm walking back up to the PA room, and some of the Villa fans all stop me. Go, you're Simon Hill. We saw your tweet and stuff. Brilliant today. If that's your first shift, like, you know, you're gonna do really well. I was like, well, I haven't been offered the job yet, but thanks. You know, really nice. But for the Villa fans to say that as well, I thought that was, you know, really special. And then I did another trial. I can't remember who against, and then got offered the job instantly. So from there, it was just trying to. There was a lot of trial and error. We wanted to bring Walsall into this new era of, you know, a more match day experience. You know, some of the bigger clubs, I'm sure you've seen it, Stu, at Goodison, is, you know, match day experiences aren't just waiting for the players to kick a ball. There's a lot more beforehand. There's a lot at half time. And we wanted to create that. We wanted it to be something where the entertainment is throughout the day. You know, and it took a while between myself, Sam Hadwin, who's incredible, is my right arm there, Andrew Maddox as well, unsung hero. But there's a lot of people that make all this stuff happen. And first season, incredible. Got some the feedback I was getting. I mean, some of the tweets I've saved, you know, fans going, this guy's going to be a Walsall legend, and you know, we've never had anyone quite like this. This is amazing, blah, blah, blah. It all went viral when we played Wrexham this season, Boxing Day, I think it was. And myself and Sam, see, I always come in with ideas, always. You know, Sam does too, but I'm always the one that wants to try new things and push a little harder, just to see how far we can really go. So I remember I came in, and we do have some awful walkout songs that are changing next season. But I said, look, let's just scrap that today. I was like, let me get in front of the fans. Why don't we play White Stripes? I'll start them off. So I got on the mic and I started chanting the first, you know, notes of White Stripes to get them to join in. So they did. The music's not playing yet. So they did, and they're still going. And then I radioed through to Sam and I went, play it. And he did, and the place erupted. So, you know, there was little things like that. So we'd already pumped the crowd up before a ball had even been kicked. And I remember walking over to the fans at that point, before that, and this was the first time this had happened to me in 1.5 seasons, is they'd all stood up and started clapping whilst I was walking to them. Now, I'm a Walsall boy, I'm a Walsall fan. I know I work for the club now, but I'm sure you can imagine what's going on in my head. Like, I am just like, oh, man, I don't care what happens for the rest of my life. This is one of the best moments I've ever felt, you know. And yeah, so that's our goalkeeper Jackson Smith and Tom Knowles, who came back from injury last night. So we do the crossbar challenge, and as you can see, I can't quite see because the banner, but I'm wearing trainers there. I've got boots now, and Knowlesy absolutely baited me out in front of the fans and went, "Come on, then you do it. You're getting everyone else to do it every game." So I'm wearing trainers, mate. It had been raining. And the ball didn't go anywhere. It just it went scuff wide. I nearly fell over, and that's what all those laughs are about. But it's moments like this, you know. I've got a relationship with a lot of these lads now, and they're all good guys. I think Knowlesy actually, when I first started, was the first player to really welcome me in. And, you know, that was a really beautiful moment, because then, you know, the steady acceptance of the staff, the players, the back room, fans, everyone kind of brought me in as one of the family, and that's probably the most important part for me, is because I was a guy that was in the stands only 3 seasons ago. But yeah, so yeah, with Wrexham again, and I remember, I think it was half time, we did the crossbar challenge or something, and I was walking back to Pitchside then, and the whole bottom tier started chanting, "Simon, Simon, give us a song." So, I don't know why. Again, like, bear in mind, I've been a fan all my life. I've been in those stands chanting all the songs. I couldn't think of one in that moment. So it just took a little while for it to click. So I got one in my head eventually, because I think I was just so taken back, and a bit of shock had came in, because the fans are chanting for me to get involved. So I did anyway, and it just went completely viral, mate. There was some beautiful messages from fans, players, staff as well. I was getting messages late at night just saying how amazing that was, and that's when I think I've firmly solidified myself as one of the family. But another standout moment really is when I first signed with Walsall. So because I did this Michael Buffer entrance, I tweeted about it and tagged Michael Buffer in it. Well, Michael Buffer latched onto it, and Michael Buffer retweeted it, quote tweeted it, and said, "And was the Poundland best Scott rocking Simon?" So you can imagine Walsall is having a complete meltdown now because Michael Buffer's got involved, and this is unreal. They've seen me holding. They announced me on their website and news channels and whatever as the Walsall's answer to Michael Buffer, and I was holding a Buffer Walsall shirt up. And then I remember a news article came out. The Express and Star covered my career journey into Walsall Football Club, and it said that the title was something along the lines of "Simon is always ready to rumble," and Michael Buffer latched onto that again and said, "I mean, look, when you're getting these kind of words from these kind of people," he said, "you always do an incredible job, Simon. Mate. Keep it up." I don't need to ever have justification or praise from anyone else, because the best announcer in the world has just said how good I'm doing at my job. It doesn't. You can't top that, because that's the top. That's the level.
And all the ones that are inboxing now, you can hear them trying to be like him, which is the ultimate compliment. The younger ones that are coming through for the different boxing promotions across the world. Like you say, he transcended boxing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? What? Bet you were just like, oh my God.
Oh, mate, so the funny thing is now is that the shirt that I held up that I'd signed with, excuse me, I'm actually getting framed now and everything. The club are doing it all for me, and there's a picture of me holding the shirt and a picture of Michael Buffer, and the shirt, nice framed work. But I've tried to get it signed, but yeah, his agent's making it a little bit hard work, but we'll try and figure it out. But yeah, it's just been a journey, mate. That there's been ups and downs. I think as well sometimes, and I can accept myself for this. And I think life is all about learning and also accountability. Oh, look at this. Right. I'll go back into what I was saying in a second. So this, when I was a kid, mate, I am watching Walsall. I had a few favourite players: Jimmy Walker, Darren Rack, and Darren Byfield. I work with one of them. These are the other two. So these two, I got told not long back. We sadly lost one of our managers from, yesteryear. Who was a manager I grew up watching back in our heyday, and I got told, "You're going to go and interview Jimmy Walker and Darren Rack at half time." I was like, brilliant. Amazing. So they both come out, and I've met Jimmy on a few occasions, and he's just one of the lads. He's easy to talk to. He's a good guy. But yeah, we had a good chat on the sideline with the interviews and stuff. And then because so he made a joke, it's on Twitter, you can find it. That I'm wearing boots there, look, as you can see. And he said, "You're the only pitchside announcer I've ever seen in my life wearing Mercurials." Like, I just like yeah, so it was that was a great moment. We're having a bit of banter there, and yeah, it's this job has afforded me so much, and yeah, those are the two. Darren Byfield, the other one I work with now, I say is a colleague, because he's one of our coaches.
What a career he had! I remember his name.
Unreal.
His name was always flashing up on a Saturday.
Yeah,
goals.
Yeah.
He was a beast for goals all the time. Jeff Stelling calling his name because he's put another one in. Very, very underrated to my mind. 100%. Very underrated.
He always knew where the net was, mate, and he was very good. And I keep making the joke, like, you want to get your boots back on, stop being lazy, But I remember, so there was a situation. There was I think it was only about 5 or 6 games ago, actually. My mic's batteries had completely ran out. And I thought I'd had enough because it said 2 bars on the thing. I thought would have had enough to get the next announcement out. Well, as we've just scored, and Mo Farler scored his first goal for us, and I say, "Scorer for what?" and it drops out. So I'm absolutely like dragging the microphone around, trying to get these batteries in. Byfield's come over, and go, "Come on, side, do your job." You know what I mean? Like, so I'm trying to just get. I try and go again. It cuts out, so I have to radio through to PM. Like, "Can you just announce this?" Well, Darren put on Twitter, I put something like, "Oh, that's the win we needed." I think Jimmy Walker commented, and then I put something about, "Oh, Byfield won't let me kind of do something or whatever." And Darren said, "I'm saying nothing," and he put the mic drop emoji. So yeah, we have some really good banter on that touchline. But for me now to just go in and say, "Look, I work with Darren Byfield and Matt Sadler, 2 players I watched. I get to speak to Jimmy Walker, Darren Rack. I get to speak to all these other former players. And that's part of my job now. That's part of my life. That's what I do for a living and get paid to do." And yeah, going back to what I was just saying, that there are occasions where, and again, I do believe in accountability here. Because I'm a fan, I can get caught up in those emotions as well. Like, sometimes on the microphone, because, you just want to see your team do well. And there was a situation this season during Harrogate where we weren't playing very well at all. And the lads knew that, and we were losing at half time. Now, if I was the other side of the barrier, still with the lads, all the fans, my mates and stuff, I'd want to be getting the lads hyped up. "Come on, man, we got to pull this back." Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm a firm believer in this, that, it's a bit weird, isn't it, with football sometimes, is, there are fans of football teams out there that will boo their players for 90 minutes and still expect a result. Well, if you're doing your 9 to 5 and your manager is slating you for 8 hours, are you going to want to do the job anymore? Probably not. So, it's all. I've always got that positive outlook, and there was, in hindsight, I wouldn't have done that, but I think because we were losing and because we'd just come off a really good win and a really positive atmosphere, my thought process going into it was, "Look, let's hype the guys up, let's get behind the lads." And sadly the fans weren't very receptive to me that day, and it was really hard to get them back. But you know what, that's a learning curve on my side, and something I need to be more aware of is, we're all there for the same reason. Want to see our lads do well. want to see our club do well. We love our club. We love the team. And that's the reason we're all in that ground.
Can you get promoted? Because you were talking to me about this off camera.
Mathematically, we can still make the playoffs. It's going to be tough. I'll be quite honest. So last night we won 2-1 by the skin of our teeth. DJ Danny Johnson, God, I love you so much. Came off the bench and scored a 90-minute winner, which we needed. And there was, if it was going to be anybody, it had to be Danny Johnson. And I'm really glad it was him, because we all went absolutely nuts on that touchline. We all went absolutely nuts, and straight after the game, I went straight up to him, and it just went, because even on the mic, I think I said something along the lines of, "I'm going to enjoy this." Scorer for Walsall, number 39, DJ Danny Johnson, and I screamed it. But I went up to him, and straight after the game, he's like, "Thanks for that." But he's the one with the biggest banter in the locker room, mate. We always have a good laugh every week. But yeah, mathematically, mate, we can still make the playoffs. It's going to be tough, and I do think even if we do win our last two, I think we're relying on everyone else, to be honest.
As soon as it's in other teams' hands, it makes it so hard. Not to say, hey, stranger things have happened, Si, but when you're relying on other clubs, Everton have been overly reliant on results for the last 5 or 6 weeks. You can't be like that, can you, really? But luckily for us, teams below us have been losing or drawing. But it's only a matter of time. We've got. It's just, to be a football fan, eh? Crikey, Moses.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Football then and now, a fun look at football nostalgia and the modern game intertwined. Join us.